Guys, I have missed you dearly while I've been at PAX Prime, which was an awesome event. And as you can tell from the boxes over there, and all the other stuff that looks terrible in my room, I'm still in the process of moving, or unpacking. But that is not going to stop me from doing what I'd like to consider my first real analysis of the first match of TSM versus Cloud9 that happened at PAX Prime, and there's a lot to go over. Like, we're going to spend a good amount of time in picks and bans, which is actually something that's very important and that's ignored most of the time when you see a lot of these analysis posts on Reddit and things like that. So we're going to hop into that in a second here. Bring up my notes. Full screen this. Alright. So the picks and bans here are really important. I actually got a chance to speak with Alex Penn, the analyst for Cloud9 for a little while, and this guy is like ridiculously amazing. Imagine him as like the fifth Beatle. Like, yeah, the fifth Beatle. Alright, so we're going to see here. I'm going to pause it. Vlad. Dyrus has been playing a lot of Vlad in solo queue, and TSM and Cloud9 are scrim partners, so this actually makes sense along with the double AP comp that TSM has been trying to run most of the time. And you'll notice Vlad is like Cloud9 does the same three bans throughout each game. Vlad is super important. Dyrus is an amazing Vlad player, and it plays into TSM's comps. The Ashe ban from TSM is just kind of like, it's because I honestly think they feel that Sneaky can't play much else, and it's a good ban right here, but Cloud9 bans out comps, whereas TSM just target bans. So they're going to ban the Ahri, targeted at Reggie, but that's also banning out part of their double AP control comp that they've been doing lately. And we'll get into that after the game, because it's going to take a long time to explain the comps. What are we going to see next here? So first TSM ban was targeted at Sneaky. The next two are targeted towards High, which we're going to see as Zed, which also somewhat bans out Reggie. Not too big of a deal. But then we get the Jarvan ban from Cloud9, and this is kind of like the biggest, most important ban here. When you're trying to run a control comp, you can pretty much, if you Jarvan ult properly, you can place the team, or the enemy team, wherever you want them, along with an Ahri running up along the side, pushing them towards one side. So that's a big deal. And basically Cloud9 is saying, we're afraid of your Ahri Jarvan comp, but we're not afraid of your global comp. We can handle that. We know what we need to do. And we're not afraid of your Nasus or Nectin comp. And they're almost forcing TSM to play their Karthus top, which is something I really believe that Cloud9 wanted. We shall see this last ban here, I believe, is Fizz? Yeah. So they're banning out High. Not the smartest thing to do, because if you look at High's track record, he pretty much, you can't ban him out. At this point, you can't ban out a player from the LCS. You need to start looking at banning out comps, which is what Cloud9 did. So, literally, if you go through every single week of the LCS, you'll see that Odd One picks Elise if it's open. So Cloud9, along with all of their bans, also pretty much bans out Elise from TSM, and it's a champion that both Balls and Meteos can play. So that's kind of an ambiguous pick. And now, with these first two picks up here, when you're purple side, with these first two picks, you have to be thinking, okay, what are highly contested picks from both teams that we can play, and who are we comfortable with giving up to the enemy team? Rumble is played by both Balls and Dyrus very effectively, and Dyrus is a really good Rumble player, and it would fit TSM's double AP comp. What we're going to see here makes no sense to me. So we've got the Sona pick, and then we should be getting, come on here, a little bit slow. So we're gonna get into this. I don't think Sona was the right pick. I don't think picking the support is the right idea. Um, Again, when you're looking at these two picks, you're looking at you're almost thinking about them as two more bands as well as what fits within my comp. So, what are champions that Cloud9 can play? Rumble Zac. Would Rumble Zac fit into TSM's like double AP utility teamfight control that they've been doing? Yes, that would fit perfectly in there. Instead, we get Sona. Lemon Nation has played Sona 2 times in the entire LCS, and in one of those games, they actually lost it. So you don't need to be showing that off here. And then Nocturne, it's kind of like, well, are they baiting us into their global comp? Are they not? Cloud9 doesn't care about their global comp. They know how to beat it. And what's going to happen here is actually TSM can't play their global comp coming up in a second because of the picks that they left open. They're gonna insta lock these champions in a couple of seconds. But again, these two picks are super important when you're purple side, and TSM just threw them away. And I honestly think this game was lost at champion select for TSM. So we're going to speed this up a bit. Alright. Rumble, Kennen. That Rumble's going on to Balls. Balls is a 100% win ratio with Rumble. I do not know why TSM did what they did, but I'm assuming they had a plan in their picks. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to check something real quick here. Alright. Now, half of the next picks make sense to me. And what we've got from Dyrus' champ pool right now, what's left is Renekton, Jace, Shen, Zac, and Karthus. Zac and Shen have a hard time against Rumble. Renekton would actually have been, I believe, the best choice with what they have left at this point. And Karthus will eventually lose to Rumble, especially in a longer lane, so Dyrus is kind of stuck sitting in the back of the lane, just like farming it out and using his ult whenever he gets a chance to help out his team. And I really think TSM needs to get away from these global compositions. But, So the Orianna pick works totally fine with me. The only problem is, when you see this Rumble and this Kennen, Cloud9 is going for like a really utility-heavy AoE lockdown. And they don't have Ashe for the initiation. Lemon Nation is guaranteed to pick Zyra. Like, if you could put a face of a champion on Lemon Nation, it would be Zyra. That's his most played champion in the split. But the next champion is going to be a Varus pick, and it fits perfectly within their comp. And I honestly believe that TSM would have benefited from the Varus pick here with the Sona Nocturne pick first. And they could have either gone Karthus Varus or Ori Varus. I actually think Karthus Varus would have been better because that would have given them a little more leeway and time to think about the top pick. Lemon Nation is throwing away his secret book of strategies there. And now, the last pick for TSM, the only reason I can see them picking it is because it has the knockback for when Hai is ulting in. If they had saved the support pick for last, they could have either done Thresh or Janna to knock the Kennen away. Picking Sona that early was really like the worst thing they could absolutely do. I don't know if they were trying to like bait out certain picks from Cloud9 or to make them think like, hey, I have no idea what they're playing, even though we scrim them all the time. But the Vayne pick here just, it doesn't really work for me. I mean, for the knockback and for the mobility, because of how much AoE utility they have, but TSM's picks are just really, really poor in this game. Honestly, what I would have liked to have seen from TSM in the pick order, this is what I would have hoped to have seen. Alright, so Rumble Zac, Dyrus Odd1. Then we've got Orianna, still works out. Orianna, and then Varus or Twitch. I think those would have worked out perfectly. And then you can pick Sona if you still really want to pick it X special. But I think Janna Thresh would have worked better. I truly believe that team comp would have pretty much, it would have given TSM a better chance of winning this game. And Cloud9 just kind of poops all over them. And TSM doesn't really ban a comp, like I was saying. These are targeted at high and at sneaky, and at this point you really need to be thinking about banning a comp, and they actually could have banned the comps with their 3 picks plus the 2 picks that they get from being second pick purple side.
Everybody else is picking it up when someone else doesn't, which has already been since the beginning a motto for Cloud9.
Alright, so let us get into this game here. Now, both teams are going to kind of ward deep into the jungle over here and over here, and I feel like they kind of just, there was a truce, like, alright, I'll let you ward, if you let me ward, we don't want to worry about level 1 fights, no big deal. And that happens. We're seeing a lot of teams stray away from level 1 fights just because it can set the tone for a game so quickly. But Cloud9 is going to do a really interesting ward up here, and I believe Jet actually points this out. It's a ward right up in this side lane, and that's so that they can see who's going to what lane as early as possible. And the reason for that is Cloud9's lanes win. Like, they win if they play standard. So they want to play standard. They really want to play standard here. And they're actually going to go in for a blue ward here. And with that blue ward, this also leaves Sneaky and Lemon like in a position to where they can get to whichever lane they need to be in. Even though if they head top, they're going to be late, which they are a little bit. But they're going to notice, I can't tell if they notice X special here, if they notice Turtle. But they see one of them, and you'll see them immediately balls heads bottom, and Sneaky Lemon keep going top. That's really important.
There are 5 wards on TSM's side of the map that Cloud9 has placed because TSM was giving ground and Cloud9 wanted to know exactly.
And most of these lanes actually will either be like, this is a skill matchup. Vera Zyra is actually stronger than Sona Vayne. Like, Vayne is not a weak early laner anymore, but Varus is a super lane bully. And then Rumble will beat out Karthus eventually. Karthus doesn't have that much early game damage. But neither does Rumble. It's just like around level 4 that he starts to win. So coming up here in a second, I just wanted to point this out that has nothing to do with their strategy. But there's going to be a point where Lemon goes for some harass onto... Wow, I just totally played Wild Turtle. And he's got his slowing plant up. Now, if Sneaky had done it a little bit earlier, again, it's not a huge deal. He could have gotten the slow off onto him, and it would have added some extra damage. So we're going to see that coming up in a tiny bit here. Because their early game strategy isn't really that interesting. They just want to farm it out. Both junglers are going to farm it out. And I honestly think Odd1 isn't planning on doing anything until level 6. So here we're going to see it in just a second. There's the plant. And if Sneaky had just slowed a little bit earlier, the plant would have gotten 1 or 2 more auto attacks off. And at early levels, it's a huge deal. Important matter thing. So we're going to skip ahead a tiny bit because really nothing happens. Alright,
happen. They know each other so well,
so
and the junglers rewarded early
things to
on
look
to
at.
actually
If you can see on this tiny little mini map here, there's some vision up here, and that vision is from Cloud9. This ward is to check to see if Odd One is coming around from lane
They now have complete
into,
Odd One. Now,
or to gank them.
obviously, to go after
The ward has a dual purpose as well,
knowing where he is.
because right around now, Sneaky and Lemon want to initiate a lane swap.
on the odd one.
And you're going to notice Balls is going to be pushing up his lane in about 20 seconds here. Sneaky and Lemon are pushing up this lane super hard. Like really, really, really hard. And with that ward, they can tell how quickly Turtle and Xpecial are pushing, as well as when they're backing, which is one of the most important things. And you'll notice that Lemon Nation and Sneaky actually get into bottom lane by the like before Turtle and Xpecial even get to back. So we're gonna see them backing, and like I love this camera, man. Thank you. He points out right at the same time as Balls is pushing, which is super important because Balls is gonna push this up, back, and then head top. This lane swap, I believe, was for more dragon control,
Pick a team's strengths right now. I'd say
and this is around the time that Cloud9 goes for dragons. Again, I'm sorry about this black bar down here. This is the best way I could think of to
because Cloud9 will
show these replays, since I don't actually get the replay file.
amounts of items just because Rumble plus Kennen locked down with Desire of Air stuff is just too much for TSM
And
to handle.
something really
They do turret
big
that,
actually
that's
happens
going to be able to chase
coming up in a tiny bit here.
Karthus, and it would go that way for TSM.
Alright,
it's a
so
wall here at the start of the game.
TSM really, really wants to force
Second move, and TSM
Dragon coming up here in a second.
counter it, but most
Because they have Karthus top, it's like a 4.5 versus 4 when the team fight does break out and when everyone starts to go for Dragon. Which is, I mean, yeah, it works out, but TSM, I don't know what it was this game. They play really sloppy.
yeah, and these teams have
Speed
been
this up a
rolling
little
down
more. Alright,
almost
so here we go. We've got
forever
Odd
after
One and Reggie heading down. And we're going to have a collision right around here of Meteos Lemon Nation with Xpecial and Turtle. This is really, really big. I'm going to have to pause it up here in a second. Alright, so we've got Odd One going in on Meteos, Xpecial Turtle low, and Reggie coming in. Xpecial's best bet right now is to move forward and flash ult Sneaky and Lemon. Problem is, we're going to see him try and ult Meteos. And actually, he's going to whiff the ult here. Whiffs the ult. On top of that, Meteos could have just repelled into the air. But what you need to pay attention to is Reggie's going to get a nice two-man ult right onto Sneaky and Lemon. Imagine if Xpecial had flash ulted Lemon and Sneaky. So on top of the Sona ult damage, on top of the Sona power cord and the auto attack, and the extra auto attacks that Reggie would have been able to get off, I wonder who could have lived here. Or died. Lemon dies, Sneaky would have died as well, and they wouldn't have taken as much damage. And Hai's going to come in and just mop this up. It's really awesome. Hai like gives zero fucks.
This actually gives Cloud9 a huge opportunity to push up and maybe get the first objective of the game.
Alright, so here we've got this coming up. The instant Hai flashed. The instant Hai flashed. With Meteos right here on Elise, we should have been seeing a flash from from Turtle, a flash tumble. That would have saved his life. Instead, the stun does go off. Meteos gets a Q off, and it's a re-kill. The flash should have happened right away. Because if you can tell with your eyes, because I can see it with my eyes, flash and cleanser down. So Turtle tried to use everything to get away and failed miserably. I'm pretty sure he thought, or he wasn't expecting the cannon damage to be so high. That's something you really need to pay attention to when you're fighting against a cannon, is when he's ulting against a single target, the lightning strikes hit super, super fast, and they're guaranteed to hit you.
impact like he likes to.
Right now, he's not feeling threatened by Reginald's Oriana, so he's going big right away.
So at this point, TSM had a ward right here, and it ran out as C9 or Cloud9 was heading towards Dragon. By the time they notice that they're going to Dragon, they can't do anything about it. Like, Karthus has no ult, so they don't feel safe about it. Nocturne has no ult. Reggie's ult is back up, but X-Special doesn't have an ult either, so they're just like, we're going to give up this Dragon. We don't care about it. We don't want to fight.
3-2. Somehow they have now a 2,000 gold lead. That kill is in their favor. The return to the bottom lane.
Sorry about that. Needed a sip of water. Skip forward a tiny bit here. Alright. I hate this part. We're going to have high balls jumping onto Dyrus, diving him, and this is one of the saddest... I'm very angry about this. And let me show you why. We're going to back this up a second. Now, this whole time, both Jat and Riv were like, oh my god, he dodged all the lay wastes. What an amazing play by High. In reality, watch it. He tries to lay waste onto balls and thinks that his Defile is going to kill High. And you can just see Dyrus' face right here. Let's watch it. The pain. So sad. And that's what you get for being greedy. Oh, we have a nice kill by Turtle X Special. Really nothing special. They just caught Lemonation out of position. And while two people were top and Meteos was mid, they're like, alright, we have this opportunity, let's go for it. And a lot of times what happens in the LCS is we'll see that there are opportunities for kills in lane, but when you don't know where someone is, you're like, I don't want to fight for this. We're also going to see High coming straight from lane, or from the fountain, to this lane, and he literally does nothing. He does no damage other than protecting the turret, and that's all he needed to do. He just saved the turret, and even though it's like at one hit, that is still time that TSM needs to take out of their laning, whatever you want to call it, to come and kill that turret. Sorry about this, guys. Alright. So, next big play is going to happen top. And this is what Cloud9 is really, really good at. They create time. And they create time and they create opportunities because they know that mid-game is when your lead actually matters. Once you get into late game, you can be 5k ahead. And it doesn't really mean anything. So they're going to do a nice ult onto Dyrus, and he's going to flash in and just try and chunk him so hard that he can't stay in lane. And right when that happens, this is when we're going to see Ball, like, you see Meteos recalling, Balls is like, hey man, I have Karthus recalling. You're at full health, you just got blue buffs, you're going to be getting mana, come to me, and we're going to take this turret. And that's exactly what they do. Odd One realizes this, but doesn't get there in time. And you need to realize, like, while Meteos will not gank unless he sees a guaranteed kill, he's also like the tower killing support that just roams around the map and is like, alright, free tower here, free tower here, free tower here, free tower here. And he's going to start doing this a lot more later on throughout this game. Now, one thing you have to realize with a Zyra lane, especially if you have like another CC heavy AD, is once they hit level 6, if they land, I believe it's Entangling Roots, Zyra's E, onto you, you need to move because you will die, or you need to cleanse instantly. And this is where Wild Turtle dies. If the cleanse had been instant, Turtle could have tumbled out of the Zyra ult, gotten the kill and not died.
Great pressure in middle by Reginald for a turret as well.
And yeah, you can see these guys just going at it. This bot lane
Uh,
wants to fight.
It is what it is.
Wild Turtle did a great.
Speed this up a tiny bit.
That is more farm than you almost amount of time to gang, and it's really affecting
Alright.
TSM's overall game flow.
So this is also when coordinating backing with your support.
So with these kills,
Big fucking deal. Like, really, really big. Special just went back by himself, and now we're going to see Turtle going back by himself. They do not have vision of Turtle, and I don't think it would have mattered if he stayed there or not, because the plan was to just force them out of lane and take this turret. They want bottom turret right now, and they're going to get a free special kill.
gets flashed on, frenzied. The repel
I believe X Special was going to try and ward, but free kill, free turret,
The aggression from Cloud9 in an
and
instant.
TSM's like,
Also has an
again, this is really sloppy. They're tanking the turret while trying to kill it, and if they just took like 2 extra seconds to kill the minions, they wouldn't have taken any damage.
means that TSM needs to be a little bit quicker on
Yeah.
reacting to these things, or they need to make
Yeah.
the moves quicker themselves.
Zanya's finally finished up onto high. Bloodthirster coming out.
Approaching
So coming up here in a second
if they can get down
Instantly. They're going to want that
is,
now, however. TSM taking down the bottom.
I want to say like
3 other turrets.
one of TSM's bigger goofs. I'm gonna blame this one on Dyrus. I really don't like blaming anything on Dyrus. But so we're gonna see High and Balls chilling in this brush right here, and Dyrus is actually gonna lay waste into that brush, telling Cloud9 that, hey, we know you're there. Right.
High and balls do not
Yeah.
realize they walked over
If
a
Dyrus had waited like 2 to 3 seconds, we'll notice Reggie and Sona, or Reggie and Xpecial are coming up. If he just waited 2 to 3 seconds before doing that, or walled in there, they would have gotten like a pick or two at least. And they will, but it's really bad for them. So, mistake 1 on TSM was Dyrus laywaying that brush. Ugh. Mistake 2, Reggie saves his ult to try and get like, I don't know if it's like high and balls within this ult. If he had used this ult, it would have prevented balls from doing damage, and they would have gotten extra damage off onto him, because balls actually like lives for a little while with the amount of damage an Oriole would have done. The other thing we have to pay attention to, Balls' ults are like amazing. I love them. The Balls ult not only zones out Dyrus for a little bit, but it gives Lemonation, who's right here. I don't know if you can see him, but he's right here on the minimap, and he's coming up. He's going to zone out Dyrus from this fight. So this fight is literally
steroid to get
odd one Reggie,
balls. Looks like he could be safe, but High decides
with
to
High
pass.
coming in.
Elimination
Now,
coming.
Reggie dies. Look how much health Balls has. That's 1, 2, 3, plus like a quarter or 3/4 of a shield. Again, with the Oriole, because it's not on cooldown, with the Oriole plus like an auto attack or two that they would have gotten because of the disruption, that's a dead Balls much earlier than he dies.
Special from the backside.
But the other thing you have to realize, I love this. So, Lemonation ult's right here. This ult is just like, you're not going to kill any of them by yourself. What are you doing? You've got Sneaky coming up. The ult was literally just meant to slow all of TSM for as long as possible, so that Sneaky could come up with the ult and pick off any stragglers.
Zanya's down. He is gonna get bursted quick. The disengage pops up.
Which,
TSM is actually
Meteos kills Turtle. I don't have the replay file. If I could look over there, that would have been awesome to watch.
throw off the red. He's gonna hold it.
I think Lemonation like misclicks because you can do the flash Zyra E like instantly.
They're all trying to come in.
I don't know if he misclicks or fat fingers something, but they actually get nothing from this
He is gonna back off. Tries to get the fear.
other than winning a skirmish.
Continue that.
It was 3 for 2 in a situation where if Dyrus had not, all Dyrus needed to do was not lay waste that brush at the moment that he did. If he had done it like 2 to 3 seconds later, they would have gotten a kill there for free. Sorry about that, TSM. We're going to fast forward here a bit.
See the same thing over
Alright, so one thing you have to realize,
check him. He does not yet
again, with Kennen, as I was saying,
and through. Usually control the map with wards anyway.
you don't want to fight him one-on-one, or especially like even 2v1, because his ult starts to hit faster, like more lightning bolts come down as he levels it up. So he's level 11. Rank 2 ult's going to have more lightning bolts coming down, and they're going to come down faster. So if they're coming down faster on in a 1v1 or a 1v2, the stun's going to happen right away. And High's actually really fed. He's 312 with 170 farm. So they're going to engage. Turtle instantly cleanses. The problem is he goes back in to do damage, and High just kind of like loops around, gets a Q off, and kills him. Really dumb there. The best they could have hoped for there was to disengage, because High could have 2v1'd them. So it's another free tower for Cloud9. And they actually didn't even do anything there. Like, High got engaged upon. So we're going to see a little bit of sieging. Not too much Cloud9 can get here. And a lot of this, you're going to notice that Cloud9 wants to fight whenever High's ult is up, and that's because High, again, creates time for their team. And a lot of North American teams, they like to play this game of like, oh, we're going to have this little standoff, and if I land this ult perfectly, then we'll go in. Whereas Cloud9's just like, I'm going to force you into a fight before you even realize a fight's going to happen. It's like that, what was the old saying, like, the man who strikes first normally strikes last as well. Something like that. This is really unfortunate for TSM here. TSM is not in a position to fight. Now Reggie lands like the most beautiful 5-man ult, and it should have stayed a beautiful 5-man ult and nothing more. Because Audwin has no ult. X7 has no flash. And they're all zoned out from the Ball's ult. Like, this is right on top of all of them. So by the time they get there, the effect from the Oriole has been negated. Like, it did the damage and that's it. And yeah, they get 2 for 1, like in Cloud9's favor. They should have just let the Oriole be. You don't need to follow up all of the time.
Yeah, it was a 4v5 right there. So despite a 5-man shockwave that drew gasps from the crowd, they didn't have the immediate follow-up in damage. Dyrus could not get in range while Turtle was not there. And now Cloud9 is not letting up, but this is a very dangerous place for both teams to be.
This is where like solo queue play comes in. You have 2 people dead here, and they're taking Dragon. Just leave them be. Instead, this is just a free ult, or a free kill onto a special. Like, you're not going to accomplish anything special. You have no mana. You have barely any health. Reggie has no ult. Wild Turtle's the only one with his ultimate and health. Like, why are you even trying to do anything? Your best bet? Go back and heal. Let them take the dragon. Because right now, you guys cannot pressure with X7 dead, with Ori at half health. Turtle now has no ult. But they're like, oh, we're going to do Baron. Yeah, this is a really smart idea. No. I'm sorry, no. Probably because Rumble ult is still up. Balls does not care if he dies. I don't think he was expecting the Dyrus to come around from the side, but he just wasted a ton of time. And they're going to pick up a kill here. Who do they get? Oh, that was a beautiful flash from High. They're going to pick off a free Ori. And the solo queue filter just keeps going on and on and on. I don't think either team should be going for Baron at this point. Like, Cloud9 doesn't need to. And I mainly think it's because, like, alright, well, top lane is pushing. They're all middle. What are we going to do? And I mean, they do get a 2 for 1 out of it, but Dyrus does get the shutdown gold off of Kennen. Not the biggest deal, still kind of important.
The shutdown did come 500 gold for actually.
But yeah, neither team should have been even thinking about Baron there. They don't have the damage or the health or the ultimates. It should have just been go back and heal, or let's push out a lane and then heal and get ready for the next big skirmish. There are some points where pressure doesn't need to be applied, and you just need to get ready to apply pressure in like 10 seconds. You can just give up like 10-15 seconds of pressure to get ready. But coming up is we're going to see like why Cloud9 is the best team in North America. And I know I might piss some people off, some North American fans here. I don't think Cloud9's going to win Worlds. It actually isn't Cloud9's fault. It's because everyone in North America is playing so piss poor that they actually don't have anyone good enough to play against that's going to make them better. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to speed this up a tiny bit here. I would totally have the mute or the in-game volume much louder if it weren't for the fact that the beautiful voices of Jat and Rivington III would be more entertaining to listen to than mine. So this is what I'm talking about by creating time. You can sit around and play this little siege dance, or you can just engage on them. You can just say, fuck it, I'm 6k gold ahead, I'm gonna kill you. Or waste time. Now watch this. Hai just goes in, ults, and he didn't kill anyone, but with the poke from Sneaky and his ult, they just got Dyrus and Turtle down to less than half health, so they're going to go and heal, plus they just blew Otto's ult, which is a really big thing. So they're going to take that tower for free. Really easy. Turtle and Dyrus are going back to heal, and Ottoin is doing like, I don't know what Ottoin's doing. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to sit here and take free damage. So watch this. By the time X Special flashes in to try and get a ultimate off here, Ottoin's already at less than half health. He literally does nothing. He kind of just wanders around and is like, oh, I'm a free kill. Thanks, guys. X Special dead, Ottoin dead, Dyrus dead. Reggie's at like no health because the Ball's ult was just zoning him out. So, free inhibitor. Good job, Cloud9. I mean, TSM just handed it to you on a silver platter. Yeah. Sorry, I just find that so funny. Right. We're going to see the next big fight and game-deciding fight happen in a little bit. And like, Cloud9 didn't really do anything that exceptional this game. It's just that TSM picked poorly. Cloud9 forced the laning phase, or dictated the laning phase the way they wanted it to go, and then created time with Hai. Like, Hai is just like, I'm gonna make opportunities appear out of nowhere, like magic. Beautiful, beautiful magic. I don't like this tower fight. We're gonna skip ahead. Alright. This is where the big game-winning fight happens. Oh, it's so beautiful. Alright, so elimination gets chunked out a bit. Something you need to notice. The Ball's ult literally... I don't think... Hold on, let's see this up. Yeah, it doesn't really land on anyone. It's just that what it does is it's like, alright, you want to go backwards, you're going to take a lot of damage. You want to come forwards, you're going to take a lot of damage into Hai. Now we're going to notice that Sneaky's like right around here, being a little sneaky. he's going to come around from the side, and as all of TSM, yeah, that was a ton of damage from high. I want to see that again.
This fight could happen at
All
any
right.
moment. Cloud9 is looking for stuff. They're all posturing.
So the ult, that was all high and like 2 ticks from Ball's ult. But because Wild Turtle gets the knockback onto high, and I believe the tail, wait, does the tail end? No, the tail end of Sona ult doesn't hit. But what's going to happen is we're going to have Dyrus right here, and he's actually in a very good position. But with Dyrus right there, Reggie off to the side, they're like, alright, let's focus balls, let's focus high. They're the most important people. Odd One's fighting Meteos. And then we have a little sneaky coming along the side. He's like, I don't even give a shit about Dyrus. Like, I don't give a fuck. Because he's going to kill both Wild Turtle and Reggie from behind. Like, Dyrus dies after them. And that's game. Yeah. That was a rough game for TSM. Like I said, I actually think it was lost in Champion Select for them because I don't know who's doing their picks and bans. They really need like an extra pair of eyes looking over their picks and bans. I'm telling you guys, just like the 15 minutes I got to speak with Alex Penn was... He's just so smart when it comes to picks and bans. It's ridiculous how smart he is. But basically what I believe TSM's strongest comp is right now, there's nothing else happening in this game. So TSM's strongest comp, and I think the champions that they used that played it the best were Jarvan, Ahri, Twitch, I believe it was Sona, and Rumble. And basically what you're trying to do is you Jarvan ult like 2 people, and then Rumble ult off to kind of the side of the Jarvan ult, while Ahri is coming along the other side. So you're forcing them into this narrow corridor, while Twitch or like a Graves is just sitting there spamming on top of them. That is the kind of comp that I think Cloud9 was the most afraid of. And I don't believe they were, like, I honestly don't think... Hold on, let me rephrase that. They knew that TSM wasn't going to pick Zac, which would have filled that Jarvan role perfectly. Don't know why TSM didn't pick Zac. Makes no sense to me. And I don't know why they gave Balls Rumble. And they're going to keep doing this throughout the set. So, if you guys liked this, if you thought it was a good analysis, let me know. I will do the rest of the TSM versus Cloud9 games because it took me a little while to go over this. I have like 3 pages of notes. It's really fun to look at. Let's see if you can see them. Woo! Oh, there's my beautiful wallpaper. Alright, so if you like this, let me know. I will do some more. I do have some more plans for like a set schedule that I will be letting you guys know about later on. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to receive more content from me, you can follow me on Twitter at @ArcMyMeX7 or subscribe to my YouTube channel right below. Thanks guys, and have a good one.